Everybody wanted to know Anna. I found that out on my first day at my new school. I could see why she was cool, but she never tried to be, which made her even cooler. She was friendly and pretty. Her hair was a beautiful copper red, and she had a perfect complexion. She seemed interested in everyone and everything. She was polite and incredibly smart. She looked strong and healthy. She had everything going for her as far as I could see. She was constantly getting invited out. Everyone wanted to have her over at their place and to spend time with her. With me, it was the opposite. Nobody ever wanted to have me over. Nobody wanted to spend time with me. I could understand why people felt more comfortable avoiding me. It was just too much hassle to invite me over or to be around me for too long. I created problems simply by being there, so I did not bother trying to get to know Anna. What was the point? I just knew she wouldn't be interested in me. I mean, why would she? I was hardly a great social asset, so I did not vie for her attention like the others did. I mean, I would say hi when I saw her, but generally I just stayed out of her way and out of everyone else's way too. I was not interested in mixing with anyone, and I knew they were not interested in me. But I knew what was going on. Right from the start, I paid attention. I listened. I knew who was doing what and with whom on the weekends. I paid attention to my school courses. I participated even I was something reminded of the things I could not do anymore, like the time Mrs. Henry asked what sport we liked best, and I picked up with swimming without even thinking. I was always on the periphery, though I always went straight home after school. It took me ages to get there because I would go the long way to avoid anyone else from school who might be walking the same way. Every day I got home, I played out the same scenario. Dad would be in his shed with the broken glass windows and the strong smell of grease. The sharp tang of metal was in the air too. If you ventured inside, he was always doing the same thing, trying to invent some great new creation that would either make life easier for us or make us enough money so we could afford things that would make our life easier. Some of his ideas were great. He made some useful things for the house, and he did all the alterations to the house that were necessary, like extending the doors and moving the toilet so it had more space around it. But he also tried to make things for me that would make life in a wheelchair more bearable, and this I mostly found embarrassing. There was the giant umbrella he attached to my chair to keep the sun and rain off me. I thanked him, but I had to tell him it was impractical because of its size. There was the detachable tray table he made. I sometimes used it, but only when I was at home. It made me feel like a baby. A high chair. There were the saddlebags that hang off the side of my chair. Practical, yes, but bulky and ugly too. Most of his ideas, let's face it, were quirky and unrealistic. It was ununderstandable too. I mean, he was not an inventor by trade. He was a computer programmer. He would only stop working as the programmer and started really inventing when his mother died and left him enough money to live on for a while. So that's what my dad did. He spent half his time inventing weird stuff for me and half his time trying to invent some fantastic device that the whole human population would not be able to live without. Dad's latest effort was an electric snare fence. He spent a whole evening trying to convince my mother and me what a breakthrough it was going to be. It would be the salvation of gardeners all over the world. Unsuspecting snails would slither up to one of these fans, which would be placed around succulent vegetables or young seedlings, and then receive an electric jolt that would send them packing, never to return. My mother and I had tried to pay attention, but we had not been able to raise any real excitement over the idea because it just seemed so far fetched. We would nod it and smiled and even laughed at the idea of the poor snails getting zapped. But we would also try hard not to let Dad know that we thought his idea was nuts and that it was unlikely to make us overnight millionaires. Anyway, once I'd say hi to my father and his shed each day, I would make my way slowly up to the house, past the potted red geraniums to greet my mother, who would be inside more often than not. She would be on the phone or on the internet trying to find out as much as she could about disabilities and how to live with them. It had become her mission in life for the past year and a half. Since the accident, she was always chattering on about what she would learn, hoping it would make things easier for us all, me especially. Of course, sometime it did, but mostly it did not.